See that?
Yeah, there will be some movement of portals, no doubt. Probably not to the extent that everyone wants, but to some degree. Right, Mr. Harris, are you on your way here?
I guess so.
But I want to give Carl hugs. I
Yeah, I
just
was
want to. I just want to hold him.
seeing as Carl's here. I thought we'd play Valheim, but we can do the tabletop
Wait,
thing.
I don't mind. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I thought seeing as Carl's here, we should do some Valheim, really. Because Chris isn't turning up, and that was who was going to do the match. I thought that's what was happening.
No, no. I was going to make you play feudal yet again, but I just didn't tell you about it because if I did, then you wouldn't show up. So I thought better just keep it quiet. Um, but well, it's not really playable anyway. So
But why am I looking at Hunter?
because I thought if I explained Hunter to you briefly, there's a lot of cool ideas in Hunter which have got a lot of kind of similarities both to the ship, bizarrely, and what I'm trying to do with the feudal thing.
Fair enough.
Uh,
Nice looking board.
I thought I would just kind of run through it with you briefly and introduce it to you so you could get an idea. I wasn't going to play it because there is a 3-player version, but it really wouldn't work. 4 players is I had a look at the 4-player version, and that's enough to be, beginnings of a game there.
Okay.
So you could do it with 4, but 3 I don't see the point in particularly. All right, but it seems like we're going back again. I'll explain it another time. It's nice though. It's good. Basically, you run this political thing. So it says draw political cards, assign the cabinet positions, receive the foreign aid money. So the president basically gets money, and then he declares a budget which gets voted on by everybody. And if it's not successful, then the Minister of the Secret Police or the Minister of Police can force it through at gunpoint if he wants. After that, everyone chooses a location to be. Then there's assassinations. Then there's banking. Banking is the whole purpose of the game. The purpose of the game is to extort money out of this poor banana republic and put it in our private bank accounts. And the winner is the person at the end who has the most money in their bank account, not in their hand, only their bank account. And then after banking comes coups, and when you get coups is when you get onto this table over here, and coups uses this board in the middle. All these pieces, you got the presidential palace. The coup is won by the faction that owns the most of these 5 red buildings.
Yeah.
So that's what they are. But there's also some really nice things like the president has 4 presidential palace guards. The Minister of Police has police in 4 police stations. There's also First Army, Second Army, Third Army. And they relate to political positions. So the president, police minister, the 3 army positions. There's also the Air Force, who have paratroopers and airstrikes, and there's also the Navy, who have a gunboat and some Marines. But as well as those, during the game, people will play cards. I'll see if I can find a good card. What's that one? What's that? What's that one? No.
Is that enough to stop them from fucking breeding? Because they've got to stop fucking breeding.
So this card, Eric, it says Phase 8 coup may be played only if the conservative influence card face up in front of you. So if you have the faction conservative influence, plays 2 home defense league units in any
Suburb. That's a good suppression. I like that.
So home defense leagues, that's these guys. So you get 2 of these, and you put them in any suburb. So that's one of these outer ones, presumably, right? So as the game goes on, more people add little bits, and then you would put your little counter, say I control these guys. So, but yeah, players put extra bits in. So it's not just the basic military units. There's also extra bits and bobs that all scattered around. But there's lots of things that I like about it. So, for example, like when they're playing combat, it said combat occurs when any 2 opposing faction units are in the same square or like place, right? So, for example, I'm controlling the president. I go to university, and the police happen to be there as well, and we're in different factions for some reason. And it says where's combat?
I like the way the tokens for the police are all holding batons and riot
Oh yeah,
shields.
oh yeah, they're gonna be cunts, you know it. Where's the combat thing? So when any hostile units combat may occur. Oh, combat is always voluntary and never mandatory between different units in the same area. Although any player in the same area may initiate combat. It's filled with these nice little touches where you go, you don't have to fight.
So you reckon I'm going to be able to talk my way out of combat playing this game with any of you lot?
There's always a reason. There's two types of ground units, armed and unarmed. So police and presidential police, they're all armed. But
I
for
want
example,
the protesters,
the rioters and the students, they
yeah.
come as unarmed, right? So basically, it says
I'm going to work on the students.
Yeah, combat consists of 3 volleys per phase. During a volley, a player rolls 1 dice for each armed unit. If you have unarmed units, you need 2 of them to roll 1 dice. So they're not as effective, so they don't think. It says a roll of 6 counts as a hit and immediately removes 1 hostile unit from play. So you're rolling dice, you're not going to get many hits, right? It's quite kind of...
Yeah, but the thing is, how is it going to look in the press the next day when the police have taken out a whole bunch of students? I'm going for the political angle here. I don't care how many get clubbed.
That's what I think is so genius about the game, is that...
I'm sleeping, Carl, by the way. I'm in my bed.
For example...
okay.
Okay. Sorry, Si.
Right.
So for the budget, it says the president announces the budget. In other words, who will get to share the money cards and how much they get. He draws how many. It depends how many players are in the game. It says, you always draw 1 more money card than the number of players, and the money cards are 1s, 2s, and 3s, right? So you don't know each turn. So you don't know what the budget will be. It will always be enough that everyone would get 1. But it says he announces the budget, and he says who gets what. It's against the game rules for the president to deceive others about what they're going to get, but being less than truthful about what is left over is permissible. He must give the amount promised to each player if the budget passes, or if the bank is forced open, unless the recipient is assassinated or killed by firing squad, of course. A nice little twist in there. Vote someone for a budget and then shoot them in the face and take the money back. No, did I not give you the money? Voting on the budget is the same as the election. Votes, each player, you have faction cards and you vote on it. And then basically it has to pass by majority.
Where the heck are you, Carl?
Killing shit around. Hang on.
Hold on a second. Eric.
Yeah?
Trying to get back to your portal.
Swap in Discord from me. Hold on a second. Can I get to Discord? I can't seem to get to Discord. Jump to board gaming.
Okay.
It's gonna drive.
I am here.
Yeah. So then it says the minister. So basically, the budget passes. If it passes, great. Everyone gets what they were promised.
Mm-hmm.
If not, the minister can pass it through. Where does it say that about? If the budget is rejected, the bank is closed. So if the budget is rejected, the bank is closed, right?
Yeah.
If the bank is closed, no one will be doing any banking this turn, and everyone who's got money will be stuck holding their fucking money till next turn, which is an interesting sub-game of itself. But anyway, so you might want to reject the budget, not because you don't like the budget, but because you want to make sure the president's still got his fucking cash in his hand so you can shoot him in the face and take his money. So anyway, rejected budget. The Minister of Police may attempt to circumvent. No deposits made. The Minister may attempt to circumvent the closing of the bank by seizing the Chamber of Deputies. He does this by placing all the police units in the Chamber of Deputies area. I actually don't see that. It must be Parliament. Where's the Chamber of Deputies area? I don't actually see that on the map. I wonder if it's Parliament. I'll work that one out another day. It's probably this map might be a different version. Actually.
Oh yeah, but I'm just seeing that University City has got the Force Police right there. So putting up a riot with students, you need a lot of students.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. And bearing in mind, you can also trade cards. So you could start to stack them up. It says, so where does it says, Minister may attempt place all the police units. If the president is still in office at the end of the turn, all civilian mates must be given the budget. So he forces the budget through at gunpoint, basically. So the budget happens as it was proposed to happen. But that would then create, would it create a coup event? I don't know. So after you do the budget, right?
Yeah.
You'll pick a location, and there you got home, headquarters, bank, nightclub, and mistress. And you got to pick one of those locations.
Okay.
Each player choose, or each player must choose one of the 5 locations, or place their family symbol in one of the 4 embassies on the map. This latter action represents fleeing to the embassy.
I see
you
one of the
US
embassies. Yeah,
the
see
German
the.
embassy.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's embassies.
The blue are the embassies.
Mexican.
Yeah.
No. Light blue.
Not
no,
all
they're
of
just
them. Yeah, I see
areas.
it now. Yeah. Russian
Mexican
embassy,
embassy.
Mexican,
The Russian
US,
Yes, German.
and German. I'm going for the US.
No one may
Meh.
be assassinated. No one may be assassinated while hiding in an embassy, but no political cards are dealt to an embassy dweller. At the end of the second turn in the embassy, in each subsequent turn, one political card must be discarded in the embassy. Leaving embassies very difficult because the minister can attempt immediate assassination. This is in addition to the normal secret police activity allowed by the minister. I just love the fucking details in it. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, if you want to go, you can go to the embassy. Oh, but we will be allowed to shoot you when you come out of the embassy. You do know that, don't you? So assassinations, all assassination players are announced, right? So everyone picked a location, right? Oh, the other thing is to mention the stuff about if you go to your home, you can plan a coup. But anyway, I'll come back to that. Well, no, headquarters. If you go to your headquarters, you can plan a coup. And one of the locations was bank. That's also critical. So if you want to bank your money, you have to select bank as the location you're going to. So
Right.
5 locations to go to, and an embassy. Assassinations. Basically, the minister may always make 1 assassination attempt per turn, as he controls the secret police. Other assassination attempts may require playing assassin cards. An assassination attempt consists of selecting a victim and a location. After all assassination attempts have been announced, potential victims must reveal their locations. If a victim is at a location chosen by an assassin, then that player has been killed unless a card guarding against it can be played by the victim. The Minister of Police may not go to the bank 2 turns in a row. So they have this bank, where is it? Bank safe. There's the one where it says bank safe. It says assassination, no assassination. Death squad activity at the bank. It will say assassination or no assassination. So if the policeman goes for it at the bank 1 turn, he can't go for it at the next turn. The effect of death. Immediately a player is killed, all their political cards are discarded and they can't move any, and the player's units, as in the ones on the board, can't move and fight. Any money held by the deceased and not a Swiss bank account is given to the player controlling the assassin. If 2 players mutually assassinate each other, their money, and not in a Swiss bank account, goes to the bottom of the money deck.
Right.
On a following turn, the deceased player's family is still considered to be in disorder and still out of the game. They still get political cards, but blah blah blah. On the second turn after their death, next of kin takes over, they're back in the game. If the president is assassinated, a new president must be immediately chosen by election in the Chamber of Deputies. All gameplay stops until the new president is elected. So, I can't remember how the ordering of things, but basically, for example, I'll declare that I'm trying to assassinate you.
Yeah.
For some reason. And then Simon, knowing that I'm assassinating you, was going to assassinate you, but decides that maybe I'm going to succeed, so it's better to assassinate me. Because if I assassinate you, I take your money, and if he assassinates me, he takes my money and your money.
Yeah.
The president and the Minister of Secret Police are favourite targets for everyone, because they probably have the most money of anybody. Coups are basically begun in the following ways. A player plays a strike or riot event card, moves his brigade, or uses the Air Force or Navy gunboat. You need a coup excuse from memory. So basically, they have this political stable and unstable. Various things that happen are classed as coup excuses.
Mm.
So I think on this card, it didn't say that. It didn't say coup event.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if it's a coup excuse, but it'll tell you if it's great. So basically, as you're playing along, it says stable, and then if someone does something, you put that to unstable and say, okay, now there's the option to have a coup. So when you get to the coup phase, if there's the option, you say, does anyone want to start a coup? Okay, but where does it say? Moves, combat, maybe gunboat, palace guards, police. The police may start the first phase of a coup in any area where there's a riot or strike instead of starting at the police station. Remember that each police unit can be bribed. So it seems to shortcut some of the rules here, but I'll just read this bit because this is one of my favourite bits. If a coup so from memory, I remember at the end of the coup, how do you determine? Where does it say? During each phase. Oh no. How does it tell you about who? So a coup lasts for 7 phases. If the rebels control 3 of the following 5 areas: Presidential Palace, Central Bank, Railway Station, Chamber of Deputies, and Radio Station. So Chamber of Deputies, I think they've renamed it Parliament in this one, which is not them. The coup is successful and the government is overthrown. So the rebels have to control 3 of 5 areas. If the rebels do not control 3 of these areas, the coup failed. Controlling an area means having only friendly units in an area. If any hostile units share an area, the area is in dispute and no one controls it. A rebel, by definition, is any player who moves his brigade from its brigade area on the first coup phase, any player who attacks the Presidential Guard unit at any time during the coup, any player that initiates a coup in a riot or strike event, or any player that initiates a coup thing. The other funny thing from memory is, at the end of the coup, and I'll see if it says, you have to declare which faction you're in. So it said, basically, you get to the end of the coup, the only ones that couldn't change from memory was the president, although I don't even see that in here. And I think there's somebody who starts the coup is called the first rebel. From memory, I think everyone can decide they're loyal at the end, which is a brilliant twist of like, who? No, we all support you, Mr. President. And everyone sort of looks at each other really awkwardly and goes, really?
Can I bring your attention to these fellas down here, the militia and the rioters? They all seem to be colour coded. Can they only be played in the colour they are coded to?
Probably it might mean that's where they deploy to. That would make sense,
yeah.
wouldn't it? Like as in a handy way. It would. Let's have a look.
Well, it's just wondering because the graphic, obviously, for Western Slum is the dudes, the protesters, but the colour is the students. I think that's right.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering, is all, if it's colour connected. I want to look at the cards, but I don't want to look at the cards because I want to be surprised. So I'm not going to look at the cards.
I like this one's a good one. It says United Nations condemnation. Phase 8 coup. May be played only to start a coup. United Nations condemns the torture of political prisoners by the government. Use this as an excuse to start a coup. That's all the card does. It just allows you to start a coup. So, for protecting the central bank, phase 8 coup may be placed only if the banker's influence card face up, may be only placed during segment A movement to start a coup. Place 2 bank card units in the central bank area. These units cannot move. Where's the central bank area? Oh well, it's one of the objectives, right? So you just put 2 armed units in the central bank. And remember, there's nothing that prevents the president playing that shit, right?
So the president chucks down. Now he controls the central bank and the presidential palace.
Yeah.
Influence.
Demonstrators.
Demonstrates phase 8 coup. So every one of these says coup event. So I think any card which says coup event in the corner is supposed to be something that triggers coups. At phase 8, you may only play if you have the conservatives, radicals, or church influence in front of you. May only play during the start. Place the indicated number of demonstrators in any one embassy area of your choice. If you have the conservatives, you get 5 units, radicals 4 units, church 3 units. That doesn't help. 4 strikers in the dockyard areas, rioters in any slum area, or students in the university. So strikers in the dock, we got strikers. I don't see strikers.
No,
They
just
demonstrate.
rioters, students, and demonstrators.
Got
And I'm
rioters
militia.
and students. I'm just guessing strikers are demonstrators. Yeah. So demonstrators, it says, would be in the dockyard. Is the dockyard?
Right, okay.
Dockyard's green, so that
Yeah,
doesn't tally
so
with
it's
your
not
theory.
colour-coded.
No, it'd be good if it was, though, wouldn't it?
Well, rioters
in
are green.
rioters in any slum. Where's the slums?
Oh,
No,
they're
the slum-
purple.
Where the fuck are the slums?
Here, Western Slum. Down here.
Yeah, no. But there is a picture that shows a picture of rioters on it, isn't
Yeah,
there?
but there's a picture
which
that
one's
shows demonstrators in red. It's purple like students, but you put rioters who are green. That's weird.
Students in the city university area. No, so nice logics on that, but it doesn't work.
Nah,
At the end of the, I'll come back to this thing about the coup because I swear that at the end of it you get to declare who's loyal, but maybe it'll come in this bit. If the coup fails, the president may select one rebel to send to the firing squad. There is no way to escape the firing squad except hiding in embassy. A firing squad has the same effect as assassination. But it may not be stopped. The president receives any money cards not in the Swiss bank account. If during a coup a player has a surviving unit in the embassy area at the end of the phase, the player may seek refuge in the embassy. So if you think about it, you're playing the coup, right? You're a rebel. It's not looking good. All of a sudden your moves start to tend towards moving your units towards the embassy rather than the victory locations. Because you're thinking, shit, right?
yeah.
Bearing in mind, going back to the police thing, when you come out the embassy, the Minister of Police has a free attempt to assassinate you.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's really going to work in the long run, right? But politics may change. The Minister of Police may become more friendly to your sympathies,
Absolutely.
of course, right? Especially if we're bribed with pesos or other cards. Right. So, should the coup succeed, the rebels, each having one vote, must now select a new president. If the rebels cannot agree, the new president will be elected by the Chamber of Deputies using the same normal election rules. The new president may then send any one player to the firing squad, except anyone hiding in an embassy. Just to be clear, the wording of that, any player to the firing squad. So you could start a coup, win the coup, have an election to work out who's the new president. It doesn't happen to be you, and then you get shot for your troubles.
Yeah.
The president now reassigns all political positions. All players, even those who are dead or in an embassy, must be appointed to a position. The president always reassigns positions at the beginning of a turn, even though coups occurred. When a coup is over, all police, army, and palace guards are placed back to their starting areas. All units summoned by event cards are removed from play until the event card is played again. So basically, that's the other thing, is like the coup board sort of builds up towards a coup, in effect. I mean, you can have a coup every turn of the game, literally, but you don't have to. But the coup board builds up towards, like, you know, oh, I'm deploying some rioters and this and that and the other stuff is appearing on the board, right? And then ultimately there'll be a big battle on it, and then it's done. But it's odd because it's sort of, it's a mini game. It's nothing really to do with the main game in one way. And also, if you sort of extract back from it, the game is about getting money into your bank, and that's about the budget. So you get money from the budget. It's about assassinating each other to get their money to put it in the bank.
Yeah.
You know, the coup thing, sort of. The coup thing, in my experience, is like sometimes you're just pissed off because, like, you know, you haven't got any political cards, no one's giving you any money in the budget, you haven't got any assassination cards, so fuck it, just start a coup and try and shake some shit up. You know what I mean?
You're just pissed off at the general situation, which is quite a sort of thing. The other funny thing to go back to the assassinations, right, is so if you declare that you're assassinating the president, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my guesses is that you are at the bank because your plan, and you wouldn't know this, but your plan is to assassinate the president, take his money, and then bank his money. Because if you're not at the bank, you're going to assassinate the president, you'll take his money, and you'll just be left holding his money.
Yeah.
And then the next turn, you'll have loads of money, and who is everyone going to want to assassinate? You, right? So a classic move is, if you have an assassin card, is to try and assassinate someone and bank the shit out of that immediately, right?
Yeah.
So if you announce you're assassinating the president, I don't know where you're trying for him at. I think it says, I think from memory, the way we used to play it was like, you'd go around and declare if anyone was making an assassination attempt first. So you would say yes, and I'd say yes, and then we'd go around together and say, okay, so who are you going for and where? You know, so it's kind of like layer thing. And then so you say you're going for the president at the bank, and I think he is at the bank, so I go for you at the bank on the assumption that you're trying to bank it, right? But of course, if I have an assassin card and you're not at the bank, I don't get you.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful kind of mini game about locations and banking and assassinations. So there's a game that's about the sort of cabinet and the positions and voting. Like one of the ones we haven't seen anything of. So I'll show you this. So like, for example, you got the president, minister of security, navy, air Force.
Hold on.
It says in a 3-player game.
Give me a sec, and I'll be back in a sec. Just going for a quick pee. Lay them out. Right, I'm back. Give me a minute to zoom in and such,
No worries.
so I can see the cards.
So like it says in a 3-player game, right? The way you, 4-player game, you basically, all right, I'll stand back for a second. If there was 7 of us, it says for the political, for these positions, the president appoints the players to positions in the government. All players, it says, each player must always be assigned to a position. The president cannot exclude any player from a position. So if there were 7 players, you'd have a president, and everyone would get one. Let's say there's 5 players. So the president is going to go, oops, don't do that. 1's president, 2, 3, 4. So they could split that last bit to have 2 players would get 2 positions, 2 players would get 1 position, and then the other one would have, so in a 3-player game, it says basically it's always done like this. Each player must be given an army. Oh, actually, there's another rule, which is it says no player can be given 2 armies from memory. So in that example of the 5-player game, you couldn't give one person 2 armies, another person police and navy, and then those other 2 guys that. And it says in a 4-player game, it will always be done army and minister, army and navy, army and air force. So that's the splits. So each one of these has 1 vote in the
what do you call that? So the president declares the budget, right? Dishes out the money. Let's take. So we need. I do. One, two, three, four. So it always more than this. That was 4 players. Be 5. Oops. That's all. Gosh, there. 1. This would be the sample presidential budget. God, this is a sucky budget, isn't it? The thing is, nobody knows what's in the budget. I'll check the rules, but I don't think he's supposed to show everyone. So, like, he says, look, it's a terrible budget this year. It's so funny, right? That's why I love playing this game. The president goes, oh, no. Oh, oh. The economy's really weak, guys. This is just a terrible year. And everyone's like, shut up, shut up. You always say that. You go, no, seriously, it's a really, really bad year. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Right, so the president will have 2. 1. And then the president will go, Minister of Police, I really like you, so I'm giving you 2. You know, right? Because he's got assassinations, right? So maybe try and keep him sweet, right? So that would be a classic budget. He says, and he would say, I'm giving you 1, I'm giving you 1, and I'm going to give you 2. I'm sorry about that. And I'm just giving myself 1. He doesn't show you that card.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't know if that's a 1 or not. And then he says, okay, let's have a vote on this budget. And the votes are based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. So, like, you know, he's going to probably vote for it, and him, that's 3 votes. But there's these guys who've got 4 votes between them, so they could vote it down, technically. I think there's a version of this now. If it's not voted for, it doesn't. If the budget does not receive a majority of votes, is defeated. That's a rejected budget. If the budget is rejected, the bank is closed, and the president keeps the money cards.
All right.
Yeah. You know, do we really want to give the president all the money? On the other hand, rejecting the budget means that, like, you know, the president's got all the money, so anyone who's got an assassin card, quite a good thing to reject the budget. But the other thing we haven't seen yet, and I'm just going to find one, that's why I want to show you that briefly, is the church. Okay, so if I was playing the game, I might have, oopsie daisy, this church card. God, I don't like the layout of the board. I don't know what it's supposed to be doing, really. Can you see
You
that?
look to the background.
Yeah.
There's a guy crying in church behind us.
Oh God, great. Can you see this church card? Is it showing up?
It's face down.
Face down. Yeah, right.
There it is,
Okay.
face up.
Yeah. So basically, if I was the president, right, and I can play, I have this card. This is an influence card. So I'm going to vote on this budget, right? That's 11 votes for. How about you people? I think it's passed, isn't it? I think it's passed. Yay! Budget passed, right? So that's, I think, one of the most powerful cards in it. 10 votes, right? So if you think about it, you know, 7 votes in amongst the parliament. That's fuck all votes, you know. Let me just see if I can find any more vote cards. You get the odd vote card, you know, that put farmers during the election. 2 votes from the farmers. I thought you'd have the odd card that was just like a vote card, right? Retired generals during election roll got 3 votes. Excellent, retired general, love it. So yeah, there's a kind of there is a bit about factions and power factions, but it's one thing that the game is, I felt, a bit, it's not weak on exactly, but there's not many influence cards. So it seemed to me that when you play the game, someone, you know, because the other thing is, in this example, right, the president's got the church. What if it's this guy who's got the fucking church?
Yeah.
Right? I'm thinking you can take that fucking card from that policeman, right, and give it to that guy, because you know,
we got to get this budget through. This guy's got all the votes to do everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got
Yeah.
interesting questions like, if you're the president, do you give the guy with the church the minister of police because you want to keep him sweet because he's your voting buddy? Or do you give the minister of police to somebody else on the basis that they're going to kill that guy who's got the church and that'll get rid of the church as a faction?
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to keep him too sweet because he's then going to be too strong, it seems to me. So you probably want to give someone else the minister of police in the hope that they will.
So am I thinking that during this game it may be worthwhile jumping in and out of the Discord channel to another Discord channel to talk?
Yeah, you'd need breakout rooms. Yeah, you would. Yeah, if you're going to do this on Discord, you would. Yeah.
Well, we have 3 at the moment.
Yeah, it's easy. Easy to set up. You just create a few. The other thing is that it says I don't see every single thing, but it says what does it say about event cards? Political cards. So everyone starts the game with 4 cards, right? I think playing a turn, political cards are dealt first down, 1 to each player, beginning with the president moving clockwise. In the 4-player game, one may have up to 7 political cards, and all other versions you're limited to 5. If any player has more political cards, including face-up, than allowed, the player must discard them. Oh, that's interesting. So face-up cards count. Each player receives 1 new card, right? So you get 1 card a thing. I'm 99% certain you can trade cards, is what I'm trying to get to. God, the fucking. I'm almost certain you can trade cards, because the reason you didn't want to trade cards is things like, we saw one which said, oh, if you've got the church influence, you can deploy some people, right? So if you pick up a card that says if you have the church, you can put some guys on the board, you either want to give it or trade it to the guy who's got the church.
Yeah.
It's of 0 value to the person who doesn't have the church, and it's of some value to the person who does. And I think you can trade anything you like. Like you can trade cards, barter for money. I don't think you can trade your political positions, but other than that, the game ends when there's no more money in the bank. So if there was 91, it depends how many, that's a lot of turns. 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. 96 divided by 5. Holy crap. There was 5 of you, 96 divided by 5. That's 19 turns.